Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. SoundCartel. Can you turn a dream of going around Australia to surf, eat great food and drink incredible wine into a successful global wine venture? Sure you can, but not before a good few wipeouts. From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Vinomofo is no ordinary wine club, and over the next 2 days, we'll explore how the success of this extraordinary Australian business went from startup to global competitor. In 2011, brothers-in-law Justin Dry and Andre Eichmeyer launched an online wine site aimed at Generation X and Y wine lovers. Anyone's free to join, but bow ties and BS are strictly prohibited. In fact, you have to take a pledge to trust your own taste and acknowledge there is no right or wrong when it comes to wine tasting. By 2016, that simple philosophy and securing some of the best wines to sell at the cheapest possible price attracted a mofo tribe of more than 450,000 and $25 million in funding. Like a lot of startups, Vinomofo's success was years in the making, evolving from other ventures that didn't quite work out the way Justin and Andre would have liked. Back in 2016, Justin Dry spoke to Chris Ashmore and explained how their early experiments combining online technology, community and wine were integral to the early success of Vinomofo.
It was built for us in a way. Like, we were the same age, we were interested in wine, we had this passion, but we didn't like the kind of bow ties and BS around wine. We hated the intimidation. You know, if I felt intimidated and I'm someone who'd grown up in it, I'd also someone who studied it and someone who'd actually worked for wineries holding tastings for people. If I felt intimidated, imagine how the other young people felt that hadn't actually gone through that. And we hated that. We wanted to kind of democratise wine, I guess, and open up good, interesting wine to the whole community. And so that was kind of the impetus behind it. We didn't really think about business models, and that showed in the results, but it was really fun. It was an awesome business.
So that was Quaff. Did that then morph into Vinomofo, or what happened there? Did that business go by the wayside and you did something different?
No, so that stayed the whole time, but what we did, we pivoted the business model quite a few times along that journey. And so Quaff was always in the background and kind of like the platform that we used to do new things. But I think the first major pivot we did within that model was to launch an online wine travel show. I basically came to Andre after Christmas and said, Andre, I've always dreamt of buying a combi, travelling around Australia and surfing and visiting wineries and tasting wine. And I want to do that. And Andre said to me, that doesn't sound like much of a business model, Justin. I was like, that's a good point. But then his history had been in video production. And so he was like, but if we filmed it, then we could actually turn that into something and maybe work on some sponsorship. And so Road to Vino was born, and we bought a combi, and then we hopped over there with a camera and some sound gear and started filming. And we basically travelled around to all the kind of amazing wine regions in Australia and picked all the rock star young up-and-coming winemakers. We'd go and visit them. We'd spend 4 or 5 days with the community of the rock star and legends, and we got to know them really well, and we'd film these stories.
So, Justin, how did that trip morph into Vinomofo?
Well, it took another couple of years and a couple more pivots. The first pivot after that was a mobile check-in app. You could check in at wineries all over the country, and that was actually really fun, built a great audience. And then we became a kind of social media digital agency. And eventually, after those two, Vinomofo was born. So anyway, I guess the result of Road to Vino and the travels we had around the country was we had this great network of people in the wine industry that we then were able to contact about Vinomofo when we launched it.
So then you had another partner, Lee Morgan, and you finally started up Vinomofo, or Vinomojo as it was called then, before you headed into some trademark issues. What was that? Okay,
so we originally were going to call Vinomofo Vinomojo, but when 2 days out from launch, we get a cease and desist from a trademark solicitor saying this public company owned Mojo wines, and it was in a different category, but they wanted to stop us, and we were basically told by our solicitor they could stop us for a period of time, so either change your name or fight it over this time, but you can't launch until then. So we decided after a few bottles of wine that we'd change the name. So 2 days out, we just needed to change it a little bit, so we didn't have to change the whole site. So we drank some wine, we were going, Vinomoto, Vinomodo. Then eventually I said, why don't we just call it Vinomofo for the mother that are trying to steal our mojo.
Perfect. But Justin, your business, Vinomofo, it's not the only business to sell wine online. What's so different about Vinomofo?
It's a couple of things. It's, our core proposition is just so strong. So it's based around curation, value and culture. So look at the curation piece is all about us trying all the wines and selecting the best 5%, from the premium to super premium kind of end of the market. So it's really around that piece. And then because we curate in such a way that we don't feature very many wines, it's not like a broad range, it's a very select range of wines. And because of that, all our volume then goes through that limited range, which means we're buying deeper than anyone, including the big guys, because in that part of the market, that volume that we buy is bigger than anyone, which means we have this real value proposition. So curation equals the value proposition. Then it's the culture piece, is the last piece, which is all about no bow ties and BS, no intimidation. We're real people. We care more. We step up. We do some good for the world, and we build this community around that. So I think no one else is doing that as well as we do that, and it's because we truly believe in it. We built this business for us, and that's what it is.
So how have you built such a following in such a relatively short period of time? Has your tribe always been with you since the Quaffer days?
We've built it by getting the product absolutely spot on and then building the site for us and really standing for something. We're all about no bow ties and BS. And I think when you stand for something really strongly, you can build a tribe of similar-minded people, and that's what we've done.
You ask your mofos, the members of the tribe these days, to make a pledge. What's that all about?
We really believe in, as I was saying, standing for something. So we want to align with people with a similar outlook in life. We want people treated fairly. We want to have fun. So we expect people to come into our community to have the same way of doing things. And it's a two-way, yes, we want them as members if they want to be part of this amazing community, but also we don't want people that don't fit with our community because we're on a mission and we stand for something, and that's what we want to do. So it's kind of two-way approval.
Can you give an example of what pledge you require?
There's a few pledges, and they're around doing the right thing by the community and themselves. But the first major one is, I will trust my own taste, but I will be adventurous. There is no right or wrong. There is only what I like and what I don't. And so that pledge is all about just trusting your own palate. Get rid of all the intimidation. Do you like this wine? Then great, enjoy it.
So, Justin, you struck more serious issues as you became more popular, and the big retailers didn't like you and started putting pressure on wine producers not to deal with you. How did you react? What happened, and how did you respond to that?
Well, look, I think we were starting to disrupt this space and we were starting to gain some real traction. So not many people did like us. So as far as other retailers, distributors, there wasn't a sense of love to this new player that was coming in and cutting them out of part of the market. So in order for us to kind of challenge that and push back, we up until then we were buying kind of small to medium-sized parcels. What we needed to do, so we became like a viable alternative to all of those other channels, was to get really deep in buying. So we needed to scale up really quickly. That meant either a huge audience scale up or capital, so then we could buy a huge audience and also buy big amounts of wine. So that's what we did. We went out looking for money, we looked for partnerships, and there was a lot of people that wanted to be part of that. And eventually we were deciding between a media company and Catch of the Day, which is another big online retailer. We went with Catch of the Day, sold majority of the company to them in about 2012. We actually bought it back in 2013, but their partnership did help us scale up.
And what's your relationship these days with producers?
Great. So initially we were very kind of focused on one type of deal, like we were, very deal heavy. So we were part of their total solution. We've really broadened the things that we do within our business. And so now we're becoming a full solution for producers. So it's getting better and better. And now that we're taking the business global, we're giving producers an opportunity to take their product to a global market, which is really exciting for both parties.
And do you still drink all the wine that you sell?
Yes, we drink all the wine. We basically only choose 5% of the wines that we taste, so they're the best 5%. It's in the kind of premium to super premium part of the market, even though the deals are so amazing, but it's a real selection process. The pillars of our business are all around curation, value and culture. So the curation piece is like we pick the best 5%, and they're the ones we definitely drink.
That was Vinomofo co-founder and CEO, Justin Dry. To find out what Vinomofo did with this early success and where they are today, listen to tomorrow's episode of Business Essentials Daily. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.